Hello and welcome to video 8 of the Equations video series. In this video we are looking at how we solve inequations. What is an inequation? Well, an inequation has an inequality sign, such as this one here, which means less than, or this one here, greater than, less than or equal to, notice the extra line underneath that one, or greater than or equal to, also with the extra line. And they have, so an inequation has those sorts of signs instead of just an equal sign. So an example of an inequation is this one here. 3a plus 2 is less than 14. How do we solve inequations? Well, they're pretty straightforward for the most part, although there's one little exception that we have to look out for. We solve inequations by using the same methods as solving equations, except if we find ourselves multiplying or dividing by a negative number, the direction of the inequality sign changes. In this first example, 3x is greater than 12. Now to solve this, just like in an equation, we'd be looking to move that 3. So because the 3 that's next to the x there is actually multiplying, we need to divide both sides by 3. On that left hand side, if we divide the top by 3, it goes once and into the bottom once. So they kind of cancel each other out, leaving us with x on the left hand side is greater than, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. Now, the direction of the inequation here, the inequality sign, this greater than sign, stayed the same here. Why? Because at no stage did we multiply or divide by a negative number. We divided by a number, but it was divided by positive 3 there. So the sign stays the same direction in that case. Here's our second example. M over minus 5 is less than or equal to 2. Now that minus 5 on the bottom there can be considered to be dividing into the m. The bottom of a fraction divides into the top. So to get rid of that, or to move that so that the letter's on its own, so we can solve the inequation, we will be looking to multiply both sides by minus 5. So on that left hand side, a minus 5 that's dividing and a minus 5 that's multiplying will cancel each other out, which leaves us with the m on the left hand side. Now here's the special exception that we're looking for. Because we are multiplying by a negative, we change the direction of the inequality. The inequality was pointing to the left, now it's pointing to the right, and that's because we multiplied by a negative number. The right hand side was just a calculation. 2 times minus 5 is minus 10. So that exception that we're looking out for inequations kicked in there because we multiplied by a negative. We changed the direction of the inequation sign, the inequality sign. Here's a slightly harder example here. 7 minus 4a is greater than minus 17. Now it's a bit tricky to know what to do first here. We usually try and move plus or minus numbers before we try and move multiplying or dividing numbers. So that 7 out the front there, it's a positive 7. It didn't have a negative in front of it. So we can think of that in the same sort of way as a 7 that is being added on the left hand side. So to start to solve this equation, we will subtract 7 on the left hand side, and we have to do the same on the right hand side. So that plus 7 here and that minus 7 will cancel each other out, leaving us with minus 4a. We have to be a little bit careful here. When we cancel these two out, that didn't affect this whole term here. So that minus that's in front of the 4a belongs to that 4a and needs to still be there on that second line of working. Now all we've done so far is subtract 7 from both sides, so our inequality sign will stay the same direction from now, and minus 17 on the number line minus another 7 is minus 24. So we're just starting to solve the equation by moving the plus 7 by doing minus 7 on both sides. Now in this second step, just watch out for what happens here. Because the minus 4 is beside the a, we think of it as multiplying by the a. So we'll be hoping to get rid of that minus 4, leaving the letter on its own, by dividing by minus 4. The opposite of a minus 4 that's multiplying is a minus 4 that's dividing. And we'll have to do that on the right hand side as well. So I think you can see that we might have to kick in our special exception here, our special rule for solving inequations. Because we are dividing by a negative this time, that will change the direction of the inequality. So instead of pointing to the right, our inequality is pointing to the left now. On the right hand side we have minus 24 divided by minus 4. Minus divided by a minus makes a plus. And so we end up with a is less than 6. So in the first example, our inequality sign didn't change because we were just dividing by 3 on both sides. In the second example, because we were multiplying by a negative number, the inequality sign changed to go the opposite direction. In our first step, we were only subtracting 7 both sides, so the inequality sign stayed the same direction. But in our second step, you can see that we were dividing by a negative, and so between the second step and the second line and the third line there, the inequality sign had to change. Now, not always, but sometimes we're asked to graph our answers to inequations on the number line. Let's have a look how we might do that. If we had an answer of x is greater than 4, here's our number line. Now, because we have a greater than sign, any number that's a solution to this inequation is greater than 4, but not equal to 4. You notice there's no extra little line underneath the greater than sign. So because of that, we have to represent this on a number line with an open circle around 4, right there. And then we have to say to ourselves, well, where are the numbers greater than 4? Well, the positive end of the number line is off to the right, and the negative numbers are off to the left there. So the numbers to the left of 4 are less than 4. The numbers to the right of 4 on the number line are greater than 4. So our arrow to represent x is greater than 4 heads off to the right there. Slightly different example now. We have x is less than or equal to 7. Notice there's an extra line underneath the inequality sign there, indicating that equal to 7 is a solution to this one. So x can be less than 7, but it can also be equal to 7 in this case. Now we treat this a little differently by indicating our answer, representing this on the number line by a closed circle. And you can see that by a filled in black dot on the 7. Why is that there? Well, because the 7 is equal, any number equal to 7 is a solution to this inequation as well. And we look to have a look at where the numbers on the number line are less than 7 as well, and the arrow goes off to the left. You'll notice in an interesting way, which helps us to remember it, that the greater than sign arrow heads off to the right, and so does our final arrow when we represent it on the number line. Our less than or equal to inequality sign is heading off to the left, the arrow goes to the left, and so does our final answer when we represent it on the number line. So in a way, the number line arrow agrees with the direction of the inequality it came from. Good way of remembering it. Let's recap. We solve inequations using the same method as solving equations, except for that special exception. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, the direction of the inequality sign changes. Let's run through just quickly the ways we represent inequality answers on the number line. This is a greater than sign. It's represented by an open circle heading off to the right. This is a less than sign. It's represented by an open circle heading off to the left. This is a greater than or equal to sign. We represent this one by a closed circle heading off to the right. And our final sign here is our less than or equal to sign. We represent that also by a closed circle, but this time it heads off to the left. So I hope that run through on solving equations and graphing the answers on the number line is helpful. If not, have a look at the video again, and you can keep watching it until it sinks in. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.